I wondered what would change. I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
It's time to turn the microphones on and say hello, Robertson County and points beyond. I always like to throw that in there because, you know, there's people that tune in that just crack me up. They're like, I listened to your show the other day, and they live in another state, you know, and it's so funny. Well, because we do talk a lot about things that go outside of Robertson County, but so much of what we do is Robertson County specific,
right?
You know, Tiffany Thomson in the house. She is. You're with Safe Baby Court, but are you the director?
They call me the coordinator.
The coordinator for Safe Baby Court.
Yeah.
You know, because typically you're either a director or a coordinator. That's kind of what, you know.
Or manager.
A manager, yeah. So, nonetheless, coordinator of Safe Baby Court, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. Well, and Brian and Ace and all them, they were trying to get somebody in here from United Way for the second half of the show. And just late yesterday, they're like, hey, things are just not working out. And I was like, well, Tiffany's coming in. We thought Pierre might be able to come in. We'll talk specifically about that. So we're going to talk about all the things. Mark, this morning, my husband goes, what's the show about? And I said, youth programs, Safe Baby Court. We're going to talk about the mission. You know, just sending your kid off on a mission. For how long is it?
2 years. I know.
That's correct. I mean, that's incredible. That's hard. I've had a lot of friends that have gone through this, and but now he's going like not out of the country though.
No, he's going to Fort Collins, Colorado.
Okay.
Yep.
That's amazing and such a dedication. And God bless him. You know, I was going to take care of my puppy dog. Because he's been helping me out.
I know.
You know?
I got a few more kids, though. So
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. I'm not planning on going anywhere anytime soon. I'm just like, man, after last year, we'll have to go to Michigan at some point. Well, not have to. We get to go to Michigan and see family because our Uncle Cooch is having a big birthday party in July.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, he's not 90. But how old are you, Uncle Cooch? I forget. Okay, if I'm going to have him too old, he's going to just get, so I can't remember. But I kind of think this is like 89 maybe. And they said, why don't you wait till next year? And I guess he's 89. He's like, let's do it again next year.
Right.
You know, you get to that. And it's a milestone. So I think it would just about have to be, or it's, because I don't think it's definitely not 79 because they had the 80th, I think. Yeah, because my mom was 84. And see, he served in Korea and Vietnam big. He was a Green Beret in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
I mean, just a breathtaking military career. And he's just one of the most interesting, fun characters you'll ever meet. And so we're going to go up there and celebrate him for his birthday coming up in July. So just kind of, keep that in mind. Hope you're around. I'm going to need somebody to go with my puppy dogs. I know, it's too far ahead. But welcome to it. This is a little thing we call One Street Over. This is a chance for you to see what's going on one street over from where you live in. And I just love doing this so much. Thank you, LU Maldonado and Ebenezer Broadcasting, for letting me be a part of this and keep my toe in the radio waters. I just love that. And I love, one of the best things about sitting in this seat are the friendships I've made, the connections I've made. And I love this young lady right here. And I can say young lady because she's a lot younger than me. And
not much younger.
A lot. But just love meeting new sisters in Jesus Christ and ones that have you have such a heart for kids. I just, there's so many things that I want to do and I wish I had time to do. And then I see people like you that are just never sitting down and you're just working. If I see something that there's a volunteer thing, you and your kids are out there volunteering. God bless you. God bless
thank
you.
you.
That's amazing. It is
Well,
amazing. So thank you.
If we don't invest in the kids, we're not investing in anything.
No,
It's
you're
really
not.
our most precious resource.
You better believe it.
Is the physical and mental health of our children.
Yeah, for sure. And just and the physical and mental health can be it can be serviced in all kinds of ways. Giving them just assistance as they're trying to get to school, somebody caring about them and saying, hey, I know, kids, they know when their families are in a financial bind, and as school approaches and it's time to get all those things together for school or Christmas or whatever that's coming up, and they know that their family doesn't have the money to do these different things, and different organizations will come together and they'll serve them. And it just, that helps their mental health. Just being there and relieving financial burdens for their family, that's a piece of it.
Absolutely.
Everything in their lives is a piece of it. And
knowing that they have a community that cares about them and cares, it's actually one of the biggest markers for long-term mental health for a human being is that when they were a child, there are at least two adults that were not their parents that cared about them. And so I've recently been trained by the Tufts Institute on positive childhood experiences and how to teach more about those. And so we talk a lot about adverse childhood experiences and all the things that that kids experience and how that impacts their physical and mental health as adults. Well, now we're learning that positive childhood experiences actually are more impactful. And one of the most impactful of the 7 positive childhood experiences is having two adults outside of your parents that care about you. And so, so if anybody wants to know more about that, March 7th, Dr. Stephanie Evans and I are going to be tag team training on adverse childhood experiences and positive childhood experiences, and open training to the public. Anybody can come. It's free. And so lots more information about that. But so it's going to be great.
I love it. And she is just amazing. And I just this is like down a rabbit hole. She's in Pride and Prejudice too. Have you seen that?
No.
I think she's in.
Oh, yeah. I did see
she's
that.
in
Yeah.
play.
I was like, I didn't know she was an actress.
Yeah, I know. And I'm just sitting here as you're talking about that. Because, see, I need her to, I had her come in and record something at the school about teen suicide. Mm-hmm. And it was just too long. We've got to condense it down, and we got to do it again. And I'm like, man, she's not gonna have time to come in and do that. She's because I hear her name so many times, and I've got to get her in there soon. I mean, maybe as soon as next week, Dr. Evans. I love calling her Dr. Evans.
She loves it too. She worked really hard for that.
She did. I just love that. When somebody's put that time in, you better believe I'm gonna call you doctor. I respect that big time. But Dr. Stephanie Evans, and there was something on social media about that she was doing that, and then Danny actually messaged me last night about the woman. I guess who's I'll have to go back and reread it, but I guess it's the director for Pride and Prejudice, getting her in here to talk about the play, and I'll just look that up here in a second. But going in and talking about that play, and I just thought, well, Stephanie's in that, so I thought that's just kind of cool. So I'm anxious to see what part she's in and all of that kind of stuff too.
I remember I think she plays opposite. She's a Mrs. something, and Donnie King I think is her spouse, and if I remember right, when I read Donnie King, that's over 10 Kids Nutrition.
Oh, you're kidding!
Yeah,
oh, how funny.
If I read the thing right, it's anyway. So it'll be fun.
Oh yeah,
it'll be so fun. I'm excited to go see it.
It'll be fun, and I mean it's coming up in March. I'm thinking, and Kate Logsden is who Danny is wanting us to bring her in, and I'm assuming that she is the director for this. But he just gave me all this kind of stuff about all the stuff she's done. But she must be the one that is directing this. But March 21st is the opening night for this, and that's going to be wonderful. And this is something I really want to be in a play eventually. It ain't going to happen anytime real soon. And they'll do it at the Coopertown Middle School. But since you mentioned Stephanie, I just had to go ahead and take a look at that. But now, so tell me again, because I kind of got everybody off track when I said what I did about her in the play. again, when are y'all doing this, and exactly the parameters of it again?
So
it just
it's
kinda
March
reinforce it.
7th. We are still waiting on approval for the exact location. So I don't want to announce that and then have to come back and be like, no, just kidding. We're not doing there. It'll be at the library or whatever. But so as soon as we know exactly where, we will start publishing the digital flyer for it and the sign up link and all that. But it's free to the public. It's a 2-part series on adverse childhood experiences and then positive childhood experiences. It's absolutely great to know like why kids are struggling with what they're struggling, but we also want to know what can we do about it. And so this brings both of those pieces to the table, and we get an opportunity to sit down as a community and whoever comes and talk about how can we infuse more positive childhood experiences into our community? How can we make sure that our children feel safe when they go to the park? And how can we make sure that they have the food that they need to eat and they have, people pouring into them? And how can we have more mentorship or whatever our children need? We, the more that, it's really interesting, the research that you find, but the earlier we pour into a child in the prevention world, the more impactful those dollars are. So if we pour into babies, and this is why we have Safe Baby Court, if we pour into helping babies, then those dollars, say it takes $10 to pour into something for a baby, is going to save us like $10,000 as an adult, because we can help solve things when they're babies for much cheaper than like putting someone in jail for a long period of time.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's you go in and you talk to people that have been incarcerated, and a lot of them, it really was like something that started as a child. I think I heard a statistic once that most people in prison, I can't remember what the percentage was, like 96% had never heard a nursery rhyme. And so, and it's not that nursery rhymes keep you out of prison.
No, but it's just that,
it's having, who quotes nursery rhymes to you? Who teaches you nursery rhymes? It's a caring adult. It's having that connection, that conversation with adults. And so, those types of things really change the trajectory of a child's life. And so those are the kinds of things that we want to talk about. So it'll be March 7th, and we'll blast it out as soon as that's ready. But it's going to be fun. I mean, Stephanie and I, it's going to be a blast.
It'll be absolutely wonderful. It will be. So y'all keep me apprised of that.
Okay.
And I've got to reach. I had Dr. David Evans on Friday. And we talked a little bit about her schedule and all that. So I've got to reach out to her and get her in for this, because it's something. I have a friend of mine. We're talking about the things she does, because she does a lot about teen suicides and those types of things. But I have a friend of mine whose son recently committed suicide.
Oh, man.
And just walking, and hearing what he's dealt with, it just kind of put an urgency on me that we need to be talking more about this. And I told her, I said, I want her to come in and talk to, I want something we can push out, because we've got this news platform now at Greenbrier that we've established. And so it's something that more and more, they're looking to, the kids will go, oh, I watched the news today, or they'll watch their friends. And so in the context of that, if we can push out some information that's so crucial, and just get, if it helps, of course, that one kid, that's the power in it. And so we've got to push that out. And I want my friend to come in, and Josh, he said he'll come in, and he wants to talk, do something for them. There's so many, when there's older people that can speak, straight to kids that are not, like you said, that parent going, don't do this. But when they can have witness to somebody, here's what happened,
who would be great to hear their story is Pierre.
Let's do it. I'll bring him in tomorrow.
I hope he wouldn't mind me sharing this, because he's posted on social media that he struggled with some suicidal ideation at one point.
Wow.
And then to see what he's doing in the community right now. I was thinking about him this morning, and I'm like, I don't want to be a little sacrilegious quoting the Bible, but he is like the rock cut out of the mountain without hands that's rolling forth and filling the earth. I know what my religion kind of interprets that scripture to be. I'm not trying to say anything, but he really is like, I'm thinking about a year ago, we were in here talking about the cleanup project at Bransford, and to see what has happened in our community in the past year with him leading the way in the charge, and those are some other things we're going to talk about today. It's just like he's unstoppable. He's absolutely unstoppable. And I just thought today, it's so funny that this totally ties into the whole suicide thing we were talking about, because I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, what would have happened if he, if
we didn't have him?
We didn't have him anymore.
How much wouldn't have happened?
Like,
we love you, Pierre.
He is just
is he? Sorry I couldn't make it. He's identifying as the Robeson County Sports Alliance.
I hope he doesn't. It's not mad at me for saying anything. I just remember him posting on Facebook. So I hope he's not. Anyway, I just think about that. Like, what if kids heard those kinds of stories? Like, I actually struggle with suicidal ideation also as a teenager, and to think about like my 5 children that wouldn't be here, and to think about, I'm no Pierre, but like, just like the amount of opportunity I've had to touch other people's lives, and it's always seems so dark and so bleak when you're in that moment, and like nobody's going to miss you and nobody's going to care. But you just have no idea the amount of good that you really are doing. It's hard to see on the day-to-day,
That's an incredible analogy, though. You talk about the people that have had any struggle with that, and you think about, well, what if I had look at the beauty of my life. I mean, it's just that God unfolded, because I just trusted and put one foot in front of the other.
When you're in that moment, you don't see it. You're like, no, I'm worthless. I'm a waste of space. God doesn't love me. Like those are, the demons that you're fighting.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you get to the other side, and you don't think it's ever going to get better. You just don't ever. I had a conversation with someone the other day, which is better, sunsets or sunrises? And I said, I vote sunrise every day, because it's when the light overcomes the darkness. Mm-hmm. It's when it's victorious. And I was just like, and that totally reminds me of those times that I felt so bleak and so dark, and just thinking that dawn is never going to come, and that it's never going to be better. And so I might as well just end it right now and give up. But it does.
I love that analogy. It's so funny that you say that, because I think years ago I would have absolutely agreed with you, and I still do, but I have this new appreciation for nighttime, because that's when, as I've been doing studies through, the Jewish people, that their day begins at night, and with rest. And it's that concept of, we're going to start a new day with letting you rest.
I love that.
You're ready for it. And I just think there's a beauty in that.
There is.
And
I've come to really enjoy like the fact that we started a new year in winter. Because I'm like that, but that's when winter. So a long time ago, we had an old house that had clay pipes. And one winter, we had a flood in our house, and it turns out that some tree roots were getting in those clay pipes. And I was like, why are we getting tree roots in our pipes in the winter? And they said, oh, that's when the roots go deep. Yeah. And it makes so much sense to me, like why we start our year in winter. That's when our roots are going deep. Yes. It's in rest. It's when things look dead that we dig down deep, and we get the nourishment from the earth. And I don't know. So I absolutely love that too. So
I love that. But that ties into how Sabbath, Shabbat, begins at sundown. And it's like, that's when you just kind of rest in, and it's just a beauty. But I love your analogy of how the light overtakes the darkness. And that's when you just go, you've had your rest, and it's time, let's go. So we're resting right now, guys, but man, spring's coming. Yes, Amy Corbin, spring is coming.
Yay!
Winter's so bad. I got to go see her and just hug her neck. I just love her. But she is just like, she'll counting down the days.
Winter's hard for a gardener until you can start getting your fingers in the dirt and planting the seedlings. So that should be coming up. Yeah.
Her hands are in the dirt in that
I'm
greenhouse.
Sure they are.
They are. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're fine.
But anyway, talking with Tiffany Thomson, and Thomson without a P.
It's a Scottish spelling.
There you go.
In case anybody didn't know that.
And we're talking about all the things. United Way, Brian, they couldn't make it today. We had hoped to get Pierre in here, because Pierre is with Robeson County Sports Alliance. And before we get off on something else and we forget to talk about crabfish boil, talk about the crabfish boil. You mentioned that to me yesterday. Crawfish. Did I say crabfish?
Yeah.
See, I'm like,
that's okay.
I'm not a crawfish
She's
person.
not from Louisiana. We all know
not.
That's all right. Neither am
You
I.
know what got it mixed up in my head is when you see that package on the grocery shelf that says crab and crawfish boil. And I got that in my head, because I'm not either. I'm not either one of those. I like lobster. I will eat a crab leg, but crawfish, I don't know. But to raise money, I'll come give you money and just maybe
Okay.
eat
Well,
the sides.
there'll be spaghetti and fish.
I'll eat the sides or the other stuff.
Okay.
Oh, God. So tell me about this. My husband's like, oh yeah, he's like, he loves crawfish.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited, and I wish I could. There's a couple little things that aren't being announced until like Saturday, and I'm like, are you sure I can't say it, Pierre? Anyway, but so actually. The way it works in a lot of nonprofit worlds, if you're not familiar with nonprofits, is that a lot of times a new nonprofit starts up under like a umbrella of a bigger nonprofit.
Right.
Actually, so the Sports Alliance is actually under Generations Next is the bigger umbrella, and it's the mission and the focus of Generations Next is to pour into our youth, into the children, and so one of the ways that's being done is through the Sports Alliance, and this is a sports program for kids that aren't necessarily like competitive on the circuit. Some of them are. Some of the kids are absolutely amazing, but it's a place where everybody can play, even if you're not very athletic. That's why my children play on the Sports Alliance teams. But they enjoy it, and everybody has to play, and everybody gets to play. And so, I've just really loved what my kids have learned about, like, taking a knee when a player gets hurt on both sides of the team and showing respect and having calls made that they don't necessarily agree with, and that's really helpful. My kids aren't sporty, so they weren't getting that. Anyway, so that's one way, and they have mentorship and all that kind of stuff. But one of the other needs that we're identifying in the Generations Next is the fact that we don't have enough childcare spots in our county. And the reason why that's important is when you don't have enough places for kids to go, then kids get put places that aren't necessarily healthy. We were talking about positive childhood experiences and adverse childhood experiences, and the younger the age, the more impactful it is. And so we want to make sure that our littlest ones are being taken care of in a safe and loving environment that parents can afford, and they're not so stressed out. And we really want to help address those needs of these young families. And so we're starting a nonprofit childcare, Generations Next Academy, and it, like I said, it's just this like stonewalling out, just like, it's one of those things that so many people told me, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, like it's never going to happen, it's never going to fly, you're not going to get the support. And then along comes Pierre, and it's happening. Yeah. And so
we can do this. Yeah,
we're going to do it. I don't care. We have to install a $100,000 sprinkler system. We're going to find a way to do it.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And so that is actually what the crawfish boil is. The majority of the funds are going towards a nonprofit childcare.
Okay.
And so like I said, the biggest problem you have with why people aren't starting them up is there's a huge startup cost to a nonprofit childcare. You've got to, number one, fill the building with books and toys, and you have to have a building. But the fire, of course, we want our children to be safe. That's the whole point of why we're doing this. We want our children to be safe, but it's very costly and expensive to put in, sprinkler systems and stuff like that. So that's what the whole crawfish boil is. Is for Generations Next, and the majority of it's going to Generations Next Academy. And there's also a silent auction piece, and a chunk of those proceeds are going to the Robertson County Prevention Coalition. Because if we can prevent youth from doing drugs and we can provide safe environments for them, then we really can change the trajectory of a lot of our youth here in Robertson County. And so we're partnering together for that. So it's going to be amazing. We have some celebrity judges coming that we can't announce yet, but we do have, we can announce it. Let's see. He sent me a text of who we can announce. So Chris Sorrells is going to be one of the judges. Chris Sorrells, Dr. Sorrells from the school district. Magistrate Stark is going to be one of the judges, and she said, we haven't got confirmation, or he said, haven't got confirmation of Dr. Weeks yet, so I guess he's been asked, but we don't know for sure if he's going to be able to come. And then Larry Staggs is also going to be one of the judges. So
Larry Staggs, my principal.
Yeah.
I love him.
So
bless his heart. He's going to go and eat he's going to get to eat and judge stuff.
But we do have some other big names coming from outside of our county that will be able to be there. But we're also going to have, let's see, I'm like, just tell me what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. So we're going to have music.
Okay.
Buzzy Pool is going to be playing, so our mayor. And we're also going to have a New Orleans second line band. So do you know what that is?
No, but it sounds fun.
It is fun. It's so fun. And I wouldn't know either if I wasn't, a year ago, I was in New Orleans, but it's where like, like when the saints go, or like okay, people from Louisiana are probably laughing at me right now. Like, that's not even it, but that's the feeling that I got when I was there. Like, you have these bands come in and then they start marching and everybody gets behind them and you march through the town. And so they're going to do that. So it's going to be at the fairgrounds. It's going to be the Saturday before Mother's Day. So take your mama. Because your mama cares about the youth of the future of the children.
That date. I don't on my calendar right now.
May.
Just pray I don't have something going on.
So we're super excited. This is just the beginning. We want to really help fulfill the daycare need here in Robertson County. We've got, this is just the first location that we're planning. We want to have as many locations, several locations. I don't know if we could ever fulfill the whole need all by ourselves, but we do want to be able to put a dent in it. We want to be able to, we have a lot of housing developments that are, controversial, and I'm not going to get into all that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
But the growth is coming to Robertson County. It just is, whether it's a big development or a lot of smaller developments, it's still coming. And we want to have the industry. I know the Chamber and the Economic Development Board are working really hard to make sure that we have industry support that kind of growth, and we want to be able to have places for their children to go. I mean, I can't imagine having little kids and moving to a community thinking, oh, I'm going to live there and I'm going to, and then not have a place to put your kids, not have a place to, for them to go that's safe and appropriate and is aware of mental and, mental health and, those, just a nurturing environment for them. And so, and this became a pet project of mine. A couple of years ago, I had a friend who called me just absolutely heartbroken because she had to go back to work. And there was no daycare with a spot available. So she just put an ad out on Facebook, and somebody answered that ad. And she talked to her and vetted her, interviewed her, and hired her to be the nanny of her children. Well, it turns out that nanny then took her children to her boyfriend's house where they were sexually abused. And so, and then, so she calls me crying, heartbroken, looking for resources to help her children through this. And that's when I was like, we've got to do something about this. Obviously, a lot of moms have to go back to work. A lot of them don't even want to, but they have to. And so to be able to know that you can't leave your child in a place where they're going to be safe while you go to work is just absolutely, it broke my heart. And I was like, we have to do something about this. We absolutely need a place. And as we have more people like me moving into the community that aren't connected to family and aren't, if my mom lived here, that'd be one thing. My kids could go there. Luckily, my kids are old enough now that I don't have to put them in childcare. But my daughter, when she gets home from school every day, does FaceTime my mom in Arizona, and they go over her spelling words and talk about her day and all that stuff until I can get home from work. And so, so I do have that support, but not, but only because she can be alone. She can be on her own. She's old enough. But, if my kids were younger, I don't know if I'd have a place for them to go.
And I get it because, whenever my kids were little, the community we had was our church. Okay. That if it had not, we had no local family. And so I had twins right out of the gate. And the blessing, God just worked it out to where I was able to work from, they put in a home studio for me. It was just a God thing, huge God thing. And so I was able to be with my kids and have the best of both worlds and do all that. But I didn't have resources in places for my kids to be while I was trying to work and do all these things. And everybody's like, well, just stay home. That's a woman's role to stay home with the kiddos. In this world, it's just different. And here's the thing, too. There's some women that really need that outside connection still. And I know many. I had, when there was a time when my kids were still really young, that it looked like we were all getting ready to be cut from the radio station and we were all going to be unemployed. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Because my kids were not in school. I mean, it was just one of those things. I didn't end up losing my gig, but I was trying to find things I could do to keep me engaged because I needed that. And while being a stay-at-home mom is wonderful and perfect for the person who that's wonderful and perfect for, it is not for everyone. And you want places where I pray over my grandkids in the morning and just so thankful that they've got good people who love Jesus that are watching them because they all do.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful. But so many, they just don't have any options. I think this is a wonderful cause. I mean, it's absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like I said, you talk about that you're no Pierre. Come on. you two, what a team y'all are. I mean, truly, you guys, just what a team you are. It is just amazing. And I just
get to sit and watch God work through him and just cheer him on, I feel like. But it's pretty amazing to just kind of see the things that he can do they're just amazing. Like he's like, oh yeah, I talked to them. They're going to donate, whatever. And I'm like, wow. Okay.
He's on the recovery court board with us, and
he's on everything.
He's on everything. I know. I don't know. I can't seem to keep up with one board. I can't imagine how many you guys are on. It's crazy. But I could remember when we were getting ready for Recovery Fest, and everybody's like, "We got to get the music together. We got to get this." And I mean, he was just like, "I got it." And boy, did he. He just took care of it. And I was just like, "You go," because I mean that's a lot. You're dealing with all the different people who play music and stuff, and that, I mean, because he's
got the skills for sure.
He can take care of that. We love you, Pierre. We love you, and but it's just so many good things. So you were talking about it's the Saturday before Mother's Day, which is May 10th.
Okay,
May 10th. I looked up the date. Well, and the reason they have talked me into being the assistant coach for track.
Oh, cool.
Well, that's wonderful, except that the Saturdays. I'll probably have track meet that day. I'm afraid.
It is from 4 to 8 p.m.
Oh,
I actually did just pull up the
that
flyer that's not allowed to be released yet, but it's got like all our donors on it.
Okay, so good. It's in the afternoon. Yay.
Yeah. So it's in the evening. It's going to be.
It helps tremendously.
It's going to be absolutely amazing. Our presenting sponsor, I hope I'm allowed to say this. He didn't tell me I wasn't allowed to say this. Is Electrolux. They really came through for us. We got Kiwanis on here, the UPS store, Nash Icon 95.5, Elite, Septic Tank and Grease Trap Services, Recon Elite Services LLC, News Channel 5. Nashville, Tennessee Voices, MPH Global, Tractor Supply, and the Farmers Bank. And
wow,
that's just what's on here right now. I don't know
if and a half.
Yeah, isn't that pretty amazing?
Yeah,
it's pretty impressive. I hope
that's an impressive.
I hope I'm not going to get in trouble for saying that. But yeah, so that's who's on there right now. I don't know if that's the complete because, like I said, this is not the flyer that this flyer is not being released until this weekend, and so I think that's why we actually have until if you do want to become a sponsor and want to join that
a little bit of time,
that list of amazing people, you still have time, and so. It's going to be fantastic. All you can eat crawfish. But those of us who don't like to eat food that still has a face attached, there is also going to be fish and spaghetti. Apparently, spaghetti and catfish go together. I don't know, or something like that.
Yeah, whatever. I may come and just
I'm gonna let my southwestern side show, and so I don't know a lot about southern food that way, but I do know spaghetti was there last year, and spaghetti's gonna be there again this year. I heard there's gonna be a big old pot of jambalaya, and so
I could get into that.
So there's gonna be a lot of food.
For
if you, like I said, if you don't still like a face attached to the food you're eating, or pinchers or antenna, there will be other things. I grew up in the creek catching. We call them crawdads in Arizona.
Us too. We still well, they're great for fishing. You catch crawfish in the creek and you put it on a hook and you catch bass out in my front yard. I'm telling you,
they're great.
Some good fishing out there. So
we one day, 4th of July is a huge holiday back in my hometown, and I'm trying to think how old Turner was. I think he was like 12. He grew up with I had 4 other siblings that had kids within like 6 months of me when I had my oldest, and so there's 5 of them that, kind of get into mischief together. And so they caught like a whole pot of crawdads or crawfish. And my sister-in-law's from Georgia. So like they brought them home and she boiled them up and they ate them and they thought it was like the greatest thing it ever was. And I was like,
no, not my thing.
But when you add enough seasoning to them, It's good. It's good. If you're into that, it's good. If you're not into
I've
that, it's
never
fish.
eaten one.
I think that, yeah. Like, I like
just like,
lobster, so why,
I love lobster. I
think I love lobster because you dip it in butter. I'm pretty sure
that's it. Well, and there's a thing up. First time I had lobster was on the Rocky coast of Maine. Okay.
Oh, wow.
That was my first experience
Oh,
with
no.
lobster.
That's unfortunate because
Yeah.
it's probably all downhill from there.
It is. It is. It's nothing like that. But I actually was up there visiting my uncle and had somebody ask me out on a date.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like when I was in college, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't really into the dude that, I was like, yeah, y'all got to drink with you. And
Right.
so,
Free food.
but it was a fun day though. It was a really cool experience. But so yeah, it's all down here there. But this is something up in up the Upper Peninsula where my husband's from. They'll do boiled cod, and you dip it in butter, and it's called poor man's lobster.
Oh, okay.
Boiled cod, of course, cod's pretty expensive these days.
Oh my.
But yeah.
Food is not for poor men at all anymore.
No, it's not.
Any type
But
of
used to
food.
be cod was a little more affordable. But you take and you kind of boil steam it in a little bit of water with a little bit of dill and bay leaves and stuff, and dip that in butter, and it's fabulous. But you don't want it to. I mean, we're going off track. Back to the crawfish.
Come to the crawfish bowl. Yeah.
Back to the crawfish boil. The first thing my husband asked me this morning, because I told him, I said, because he's always like, who's coming on the show? And I told him, and I said, we're going to talk about a crawfish boil. He goes, is it all you can eat? I said,
It's
"Why?"
all you can
Well,
eat.
that first thing I said, well, probably not, since they're fundraising. Of course not. It is.
It is all you can eat. Well, it's all you can eat till it runs out.
Well, there you go.
So, I mean, they can all, but, and if you want to make sure that we have enough crawfish, they're not going to put in the order until like the week of. So pre-buy your ticket so that we have a better, I mean,
Idea.
you can purchase it there. It is a little bit more expensive to purchase it there. If you pre-buy it, it's a little bit cheaper. And part of that's because we're going to have to like overcompensate because we don't know like how many people are going to buy at the door. So, so pre-buy your ticket. The more pre-bought tickets we have, the more we know how to prepare for food. And and it is until you run out. So, but last year this is second annual. The last one was a lot smaller. We did it at Bransford. It was our first time, and it was a good learning experience. We did make some money, but like this is going to be huge. It's at the fairgrounds. It's going to be huge. Like anyway, I'm so excited, but yeah.
I'm excited it's in the evening. That's great.
Yes.
As soon as you said it on a Saturday in May, I'm like, April and May, my Saturdays are kind of a mess right now.
We know May is the worst, but most people the Saturday before May are going to take their mamas out to dinner.
True.
If you don't do it on Sunday. And so bring
a good idea.
Bring your mama to dinner at the crawfish boil, and there'll be something there that she loves, even if she's not a crawfish fan, but we know she loves the children because she kept you around, right? So
exactly.
she raised you. So yeah, come and support the children of Robertson County.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put that out to my kids. We always try to have a family day. Once a month. And I'll just put it out there to them. This is going on. Why don't you all come and this be our family day, and let's all go to the crawfish bowl.
There you go. See, look at this. All you other mamas, follow suit.
Okay. Let's make that our family gathering in May. I'll throw that out there. And we always have to, because my twins were born in May and my granddaughter. And so my twins would love that because they're big crawfish fans.
Oh,
so that would be something that would be a really good stuff. So I'll put it on the calendar, and we usually get together the Saturday before Mother's Day because I let my I've got two girls that are, daughter-in-laws that are mamas themselves, and I leave them alone on Mother's Day. And I would usually go see my mom. And so we usually do our thing on Saturday. So I'll be like, okay, come on, let's do this. That'd be fun.
That'd be really fun.
Throw it out there. I've just sent my track coach the message. I'm like, I need the schedule so I can start planning.
Right.
I'm a busy person.
Well,
I need the schedule. I need the track schedule.
I was just glad when I saw when the Kilgore Bluegrass Festival was announced. I was like, oh, it's not the same time.
Yeah. When
later.
Is it late? It's later.
It's later.
It's usually the weekend of my granddaughter's birthday. So last year it was on my granddaughter's birthday.
Are you going to be there this year?
I was there last year for half of it, but yes, I mean, as long as it doesn't, I've told the family, I said, Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival is very important to me. I've been a part of it from the very beginning. I really need to be there all day. Let's please not plan something. Since last year, it was her birthday. So, of course, it just was, I told him, I said, I'm going to go and it's her birthday.
Right.
So I was there in the morning, but wasn't there for the evening part. So I'm hoping, and they forget sometimes and schedule stuff, but I'm really going to continually remind them, please don't schedule anything on that Saturday because we've got the festival. So I'll talk to all the powers that be that set the schedule, trying to coordinate with. It is having all these grandkids and daughter-in-laws. It's just absolutely most wonderful blessing. Big time, but trying to get your family together after you start getting so spread out, it gets more and more difficult, and you just have to embrace it and say, come if you can, and some will come, some, but trying to get them all there at one time, whew, it's a challenge the bigger you get.
Yeah, I wrote about that in my journal because my oldest is leaving in less than 2 months, and I know it's never going to be the same. Like, because they're just once they start leaving, it's never the same. And I told you if I talk too much about this, I'm gonna cry. But I did.
Turner's going.
I wrote and cried about it last night because I'm just I have to be realistic, knowing it's never gonna be the same. But yeah. So and that was the thing. The daily, and I homeschooled my kids, so we ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner together every day for most of their lives, and now it's like. I don't know when the next time we're all going to be around a table together is. I mean,
hang on, Mama. It's okay.
Yeah, 6 weeks.
I remember so clearly because we didn't have that experience of the all day thing, but because I worked from a home studio, I was with my kids more than you would, I was able to be with them really just a lot. And I mean, we drove their school bus a lot, all those kinds of things because they were, at Good Pasture. And so we were so involved. But we were big about the family table in the evening, and we tried really hard to do that because we saw the importance of that. And so that moment, it was so funny because because my twins, they were leaving at the same time, but the youngest of the twins, they're 30 minutes apart. We have to always clarify that.
That's awesome.
But the youngest of the twins, Jeremiah, had gotten a football scholarship to Hardin University out in Arkansas. And so he ended up having to leave for college a little bit earlier than the other one and had to leave to go for football stuff. And I will never forget that last time around the table before he walked out the door.
LaVern.
I'm sorry. I mean, but it's going to be, but it was almost like, I felt kind of bad though, because when Caleb left, it wasn't the same emotion because it was that moment.
It is.
And it's changing, but it's all good. I promise you, Mama. Hang in there. I'm making her cry.
I know. It's okay. It's like, it isn't like you should ask Josh, my husband. He I read to him what I wrote. And it was really I sat down in the rocking chair that I bought when I was pregnant with him last night. And then I'm just and it's falling apart. Yeah. The rocking chair is falling apart. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just so poetic. My whole heart is falling apart right now. Knowing that all the years of rocking and singing and loving on your kids. And it's the point, right? Yeah. This is why we do it.
So they'll fly.
The whole, it's just all the years I was worried that they weren't going to grow up to be good members of society, and now that they want to be good members of society and go on a mission for 2 years. I mean, come on. My kids are going on a mission for 2 years. Yeah. Going and just talking to people about Jesus for 2 years, what could make you more proud?
Yes.
A kid wanting to go serve God for 2 years, but... Mm-hmm.
It's all good. It's all good. But I'm telling you, I get it. And, and oh my goodness, when I have set a family day, and I'm like, okay, everybody's going to come. And then one by one, it's we can't be there. And then I'm like, oh. But then I stop myself. And I tell you, this is something that has helped me tremendously cope with these kind of feelings is our program, Celebrate Recovery. Because Celebrate Recovery is not just, there's only about 30% of the people that come to Celebrate Recovery that are about chemical or alcohol addiction. The rest of them are just dealing with life's hurts, habits, and hang-ups. And we all have so many hang-ups about the things that are just our daily thing. This is our thing. We have so many hurts where you're like, well, if y'all would be here if you want. No, they have lives.
Right.
I'm so proud of my kids. I'm so thankful. Oh my gosh. You have those, I have this little jealous thing that will, get between me and who I've been called spiritually because I'm like, well, my grandkids get to spend more time with them than that. But praise God that those people are there to help take care of them, so they're not having to let strangers watch their kids. praise God.
Right.
You
that,
know?
that was a
I mean,
conversation.
that's one of those things. It's like, oh my gosh, they're all just living their life. I raised them to fly, and wow, are they flying?
We're just crying in
We're
here.
having cry
I know
fest
that was the thing. It was like, go from being in your nest to like it just being a landing place on the
Yes.
journey. That was one of the lines I wrote last night.
Oh,
I was
that's
just like,
beautiful.
but I was just like, God and I had a conversation about it, and I said, "How am I going to get through this?"
You're going
And he goes, "Gratitude. You're gonna every time you hurt." Be so grateful for what you
Amen.
had with him. Like, I'm
Yes.
so grateful that I've had him
Yes.
in my home, all of them.
Yeah.
But he's the one I'm mourning over right now, but like, be grateful for the opportunities that I have had. Like,
Yes.
grateful that he's, such a good
Great young
kid.
man.
And
he's come and done some farm work for me. He is an amazing young man. Love him to pieces. And when you told me he was going on mission, I was like, really?
right.
But I get it, and that's what we've raised him to do, is to really step out there. And, God bless you. We're proud of you, young man.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
We
and,
are.
that's going to be awesome. But
Well, and then I
all
just realized, like, okay, so all my kids, I've always homeschooled, but this year they've all gone to school. And so that was another thing. I was like, all my kids have taken a step of independence this year. None is quite as big as leaving me for 2 years, but like the rest of them, all our way, have taken a huge step of independence. And so I feel like that's why, one of the reasons why I'm feeling it so heavy right now. It's just like they've all taken a step of independence, and they're succeeding, and they're doing well, and they're absolutely like growing into themselves, and learning how to deal with bullies and all those things. And so anyway, God
is good all the time. I'm going to do my ad real quick. Okay. And you're going to gather yourself, and we're going to revisit.
Pierre's texting me, so I have some things to add.
Okay, can I ask you, what's the pink right now? Because it's not breast cancer month.
No, it's not. So this is from breast cancer month, though. I put it on there and never took it off. And then this was a gift that was given to me from Casa when I left.
Okay, because I was thinking maybe there was some kind of a pink focus with
No.
Casa, because it's usually not pink. But then I saw the pink ribbon. I thought maybe I'm missing something.
Did you know Scott Ball? He worked at the Kilgore Bluegrass Festival too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he, when I left Casa, he had this made for me. It's the only monogram thing I have. This shows you how
Beautiful.
How new I am to the South. That this is the only thing I have, but it's my pride and joy because it is a monogram thing. And Scott gave it to me. He passed away. I don't know, about a year and a half ago. And
amazing. And
he's a
Casa,
great
if
man.
you're not, and I love how Billy Vogel says Casa. Casa, or I don't know what he says. I'm going to tease him. His wife's going to be, please don't draw attention to that. But I'll correct him because I don't know how he says it. I'll have to go back and listen to it. But I'm always Casa. And he goes, oh yeah, Casa. I love him to pieces. He cracks me up. But I thought, well, maybe there's something special going on with Casa because I saw the pink and and I thought maybe
almost
I'm missing
wore a
something.
pink shirt today, so that would have been. It's Valentine's Day is coming up. It's
there you go. You're getting your Valentine's stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
But I do have some breast cancer survivors. My mom and my mother-in-law both are breast cancer survivors, and so
there you go.
And I've lost some people close to me to breast cancer. So anyway,
very good. Absolutely.
I'll let you do your ad.
Okay, Tiffany Thomson's in the house, and we're gonna kind of revisit all the things we've been talking about. If you've missed this show, you've missed a lot because we have fun. We had no doubt we could do an hour. We could do 2 or 3. Let's talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. I just love them. I'm talking about people that are involved in the community. I'm gonna kind of double down on that right now. And Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. That's where I got to know them. They are just wonderful friends, and it's so funny when we started the radio show. And started the whole One Street Over thing and had the idea of maybe having some sponsors. He came up, he goes, man, I'd like to sponsor that. I'd like to do that. And they have ever since. And we appreciate them so much. And they're so involved in the community. And actually, at that time, Barry was not in real estate. He was still a vice president of a media marketing company up in Nashville and was doing some part-time stuff and helping, of course, Rebecca and all of hers because she's one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. And she is, she came out of a radiology background, so she understands those who are maybe wanting to do something different. This is the time of the year people go, well, I'd kind of like to do it part-time and maybe think about doing it full-time. Talk to her. She can mentor you in that because it didn't take her long to see that's what I need to be doing. She looked for a company that had everything she needed. Exit fit that bill. She was part of the Garden Gate team forever. When Barry opened the brokerage office here locally, he went full-time real estate. I'm wanting to say it's been about 5 years now, 4 or 5 years, but they took the brokerage office along with her agency office, combined them to give you a new branch in the exit tree, which is Exit Prime Realty. But they're all still connected and they all still work together, buying or selling whatever it is you're doing. If you want to be mentored into being a realtor, they can help you out with that. They're just the whole package, guys. And he always reminds me, now we work independently of each other. You know, we help each other, but you know, we have our own thing. So they've got a little competitive thing going on there too. But just love them. They're awesome. You can call Rebecca at 615-504-7425. 615-504-7425. Go to sellwithbecky.com, or buy BUI-RobertsonCounty.com. There, Robertson County ends up in Cross Plains. That's the connection to Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. And when you talk to them, let them know you turn 60. Is the coordinator for Safe Baby Court. Tell them you have a date again for what you and Stephanie are doing, Dr. Evans.
March 7th. I want to make sure I'm saying that right.
And it's talking about the importance of those early childhood experiences and how it affects kids later on, right? You can say that better.
Absolutely.
That real quick, though.
So when we're talking about, March 7th. It'll be an all day training from 9 to 4 because you got a 2-for-1 training, 2 for free training in there. You have an adverse child experience, and these are trainings that we legally can charge. At least I know for me, I can charge like up to $1,500 for this training. So you're getting a very high quality training. But so there's adverse childhood experiences. Actually, the research into that started in the 90s. They were learning there. It was a healthcare company that was like, well, what really makes a difference? Some people grow up healthy and some people grow up sick, and is it where they live? So they started doing some research, and they found one of the most impactful things to somebody's long-term physical health was the experiences that they went through as a child, their adverse childhood experiences. If somebody in their home went to jail, if they didn't always have food to eat, if they were abused, or if they were witness to domestic violence, all those things, you get a score. Like there's an ACEs test, and you get a score, and the higher your ACEs score, the more it affected their long-term physical health. That's how this whole thing started. So a whole new branch of behavioral science started researching adverse childhood experiences. And we kind of sat on that information for about 20 years going, oh no, we got to stop all this stuff from happening. And then we started researching, well, what are good things that happen to kids? What are the positive things? And so a whole new branch of that, positive childhood experiences, started being researched, and the Tufts Institute is leading the charge on that. They have phenomenal information. And we started learning, well, what are the things that help children thrive? And some of the things are, could you talk about your feelings in your home? Were there 2 adults outside of your family that cared about you? Did you have, access to food and nutrition, and did you feel like you're safe in your community and your environment? And so there are 7 key positive childhood experiences, and we found that I'm one of the researchers. I've read the research that they found that that actually is more impactful to have positive childhood experiences than to have adverse childhood experiences. So people that have the same ACEs score, they have fairly rough childhood. If they also have a low positive childhood experience score, then they have a lot of those long-term things. But if they have a high positive childhood experience score, so yeah, you had some hard things happen to you, but you also had some really good things too, then their outcomes of their physical and mental health are actually a lot better. And we found it tied to grades. We found it tied to substance misuse. We found it tied to so many things that help us to fulfill positive, productive lives where we're happy members of society. And so we want to make sure, as we look at the things that our community needs, we're providing positive childhood experiences, because if our children are growing up in a place that's only providing negative childhood experiences or adverse childhood experiences, then we're going to have adults that struggle. But if we pour into, we put a lot of focus and prevention on really helping those little ones, and I mean little, like starting from birth. I'm not talking about, you know, kids that are starting to struggle at 3 or 4 years old. At birth, if we pour into them, the trajectory of their lives are just phenomenally changed. And so that's what I do with Safe Baby Court, basically, is I come into those families that are struggling from the very beginning. Some of the families that are involved in Safe Baby Court, their children are born drug exposed. So it's like from go, you know, we're involved in their lives. Sometimes it's a little bit, they have to be 3 and under. So up to their 4th birthday, they have to have a child in the home that is 3 and under. And so, so we really focus on those families and changing the trajectory at that point, because it really helps change not only those children's trajectory for the rest of their lives, but also the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. And we stop that circle of child abuse that we have, you know, the generational neglect, the generational abuse that, you know, well, this is the way my mom did it, my grandma did it, my great grandma did it. And hopefully we can stop that and change that for the children. And so that's what I get to do in Safe Baby Court. And that's why things like Generations Next Academy are important to me. And that's why this fundraiser is important to me. And Pierre wanted me to mention that we will have a children's zone with like bounce houses and all sorts of fun things. So it's really going to be a family affair. There's, you know, so there's going to be music and food and, you know, activities for the children. And it's really going to just be a community event where we all come out and love on the future of Robertson County, our youth.
I love it. It's beautiful. And that's the Saturday before Mother's Day. It's May 10th for that event. And then again for your and Dr. Evans's event one more time on the
March 7th.
Yeah, that's incredible. It is wonderful training. 2 of my favorite ladies that are leading that. Can't say enough about that. Anything else we're missing? And Turner, let your mama cry. Let your mama cry. Be nice. Hug her a lot.
Yes,
It'll be all right.
Yeah. Like right. It's just so hard, I think, for a kid to understand that mom's sad because she's so proud. Yes. You know, like my heart's
exactly right.
My heart's so full, it's coming out of my eyes. Yes. You know, it's kind of how I feel.
When my kids can't come to see me, it's not that I'm, you know, sad. I'm really proud that they have full lives. But I do miss them, you know. But it's okay. It's the season of life, and that's where I'm at. So. Yeah. I love it. Proud of you, Turner. That's awesome. Congratulations. I'm proud of your family. Love your sister. And all the things you're involved in. Pierre, we'll get you back in here soon. Just thank y'all for being a part of what we're doing here with One Street Over. So many. If you're in Robertson County, God has blessed you greatly because, man, we got some great stuff going on. We are changing our county from the inside out. And so much that we talked about today is the reason why. And that's how you make a difference. Everybody says, how do we make a difference? That's how you make a difference. You know, before we go, though, absolute prayers for all those who were devastated by the crash last night. I can't even imagine. Chelsea Rose, bless her, who, you know, John Rose's wife, she had picked up John at the airport last night, and she wrote, I just can't imagine what they're going through because her husband had just left Washington and had a sweet little picture of him kissing the youngest one. And she just heart was breaking for those that are dealing with that tragedy. And if you haven't heard, there was a plane carrying about 60 that crashed with a military helicopter carrying 3, crashed into the Potomac. It's just awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. And our praying for those folks that have had to deal with that awful tragedy. And we love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of One Street Over. Join us tomorrow for Faith Friday here on 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a fabulous day.
Someday